They had some injuries. They didn't perform well. Quentin Nelson didn't perform well. I think they've got something to prove today. So let's see our defense step up and, step up to that challenge and answer it.
Initial thoughts for me when I look at that Colts roster. Because obviously we're with you till 10, and we apologize to those listening on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to get that audio fixed during the break.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to dive fully into both these rosters that are going to be taking the game field up at Lucas Oil Stadium today. And when I first look at that Colts roster, let's start on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
We will dive into the running back room situation because obviously that changes the dynamic, especially for a rookie quarterback, not having Jonathan Taylor, that security blanket, at least for the first 4 weeks of the season, if not more.
Yep.
Zach Moss has now been downgraded to doubtful. He is your backup running back.
Which means he's probably out.
Correct. I mean, he broke his forearm July 31st.
Yeah. If they drop you to doubtful, that's pretty much.
I'm not a doctor, but if you broke your arm a month and change ago, the odds of you coming back.
Depends how bad the crack is. You know what I mean? And how much you use that forearm. But obviously it depends on being able to hold the ball and that kind of thing. But we'll see. They got running backs we've never heard of before, but hopefully we don't hear about them that much today.
Well, for what it's worth, Tommy, if you go back to that Week 6 meeting, which all week long when we met with the Jaguars, they insisted they're not looking back at last year. Yep. But Trevor Lawrence did admit he has a sour taste in his mouth from going 0-2 up in Indy his first 2 seasons in the league. And when you go back to that Week 6 meeting in which Matt Ryan dinked and dunked the Jaguars to death, right. Deion Jackson was the lead back in that game with 12 carries for 42 yards, which doesn't seem like a lot. But I remember no one was expecting anything with Jonathan Taylor out in that game.
Right.
And this guy still went out there and scored a touchdown, an average 3.5 yards a carry. Yeah,
well, their offense, a big believer on their offense. I don't think, you'd love to have Jonathan Taylor. You'd love to have Moss. But if you don't have them, it's up to the offensive line to make it work for that running back. And if they get in a rhythm, like any other player, that gives them confidence, next thing you know, they do some play action, it could be a problem. So, I'm always old school. I think you win it up front. I love the speed. I love, all the throws and all that. But if you can't block the big guys up front, you're going to have a tough time doing anything on offense.
When I look at the wide receivers for the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr., obviously very heralded, coming out of USC. He's had moments during his years in the league. Alec Pierce has had one moment so far, and it was against this team, against Shaq Griffin, Week 6 last year. And then Josh Downs, the rookie out of UNC, who's more of a slot guy. Right. So I look at those 3 wide receivers, and what's so fascinating for me, Tommy, and talking to people who are in Indianapolis and have connections to the Colts, they're never going to win the Get Off the Bus award. Those 3. You're not going to see those guys getting off the bus, and you're going to go, "Whoa, we got a problem." Quite like when this Jaguars wide receiver room gets off the bus. But what's interesting is if I had told you a year ago that the Jaguars wide receiver core, minus Calvin Ridley, obviously, of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Marvin Jones would do what they did a season ago, would you believe me? Probably not. So that's where, as much as I look at that trio and I'm like, man, it's a bunch of 3s, there were people on this radio station saying that the Jaguars had nothing but a bunch of 3s this time a year ago.
Yeah, no, you're right. Listen, again, these guys are capable of making plays. And if you give the QB time, he's going to make throws. How about this? I think Anthony Richardson is the 7th QB, right, in a row to start opening day for the Colts. How about that? I mean, think about that. Think about the receivers too. Now, they haven't all been there that long, obviously, but still going from one to another and getting used to the young rookies. So it'll be interesting. I think, look, you're gonna have to feel them out a little bit. You don't really know exactly what to expect. Like Doug Peterson said, look, we study the coaches, what they've done, where they've been, who they've coached, how they coach them, how they call their plays. He said, look, we know Gus Bradley. We know what he's going to bring on defense, other than maybe a wrinkle or 2 here or there, because we've gone against them. But they're going to have to feel out this Indy offense, and hopefully they do, and with enough time to spare to score more points than the Colts.
Again, we're with you till 10, so we're going to dive fully into both these rosters. But real quick, on the defensive side of the ball for the Colts, Tom.
Yeah.
And we are going to say hello to Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming up at 8:20. But before we take our first break and then say hi to Frank, can you name for me a non-Kenny Moore defensive back on the Indianapolis Colts?
No, I can't. I actually looked at them today because their roster, especially on defense, are a lot of draft picks. Like, they've had them for a couple of years, and you still don't know exactly. You've probably never heard of them. You've heard of DeForest Buckner, of course. You've heard of Kwity Paye if you've been paying attention, because he's pretty decent. Leonard, the linebacker, you've heard of. But you're right. You look at the corners. I had to look and see exact, like where they're from and what round did they get them in and that kind of stuff. And you're right. But guess what? With the pass rush, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? They're good enough to cover. And that's the look. If there is a concern on our offense, what is it? It's the offensive line. It is. You got a rookie right tackle who, by the way, looks legit as everything you want out of right tackle. His temperament, I love Anton Harrison's temperament, right? Walker Little, left tackle. Look, he's
looks like he was designed in a lab when it comes to pass protection.
He does. But let's, here's the problem, I think, with our offensive line and defensive line. We watch them in camp. We watch the one-on-ones, and then we make our opinion. But the reality is we don't really know how good the other side is on both sides. You know what I mean? Until when? Until we go against game speed and regular season opponent, right? We're going to find out a lot about our offensive line today. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm a huge believer in Phil Rosher. That guy, what was the concern last year?
The offensive line.
And they ended up having a
and
really
he continues to
good year.
turn lemons into lemonade.
Hey, listen.
And now he doesn't have lemons. He literally was handed a first-round pick.
No doubt.
The man has never had a first-round pick handed to him quite like he has this year in his coaching career.
You're right. I mean, look, Jawan Taylor's year last year was a big reason for Phil Rosher. Same with Cam. Cam was having a great year before his injury. But no, you're right. Anton Harrison, man, what a great pick, and I'm looking forward to seeing him today.
I also realized I probably shouldn't be dogging on Dallas Flowers and Darrell Baker, the formerly undrafted free agent, second-year players, for the Colts, because I'm speaking with a former undrafted free agent himself. So if anybody in the world knows, hey, don't be judging a book by its cover, it's Tommy Mack.
Well, no, listen, man, inside the organization, they know exactly who they are. You know what I mean? And they love them for a reason, and they're starting for a reason, and they believe in them for a reason. Outside that building, maybe not. And that was no doubt the case with me. Inside, I was beloved. Outside, you're probably like, who in the heck is this kid? Like, especially when you starting. But that's the part of the game that's awesome. Like, you go prove yourself, they'll know your name. You go prove yourself, they'll start figuring out who you are. Because why? Because you're making plays and you're standing out. So, look, congrats to them for being undrafted or wherever they were in their second year starting for a National Football League defense, right? And again, I'm a huge believer in coverage and pressure go together. You're going to see Gus Bradley in a lot of zone. The zone only works when you have pressure, because there's always holes in zones. And they may be split second, where the window's just open for a tiny bit, but the quarterbacks are good enough to place it where they, where they need to be at the right time. Trevor's gotten really good at that. So you got to have pressure. And look, if these guys can, you only got to cover for a couple seconds if you got pressure. Think about that. Covering for 4 seconds compared to 2, big difference.
One guy who I know believes in the Jaguars potentially scoring that 33 points you're predicting, Tommy, is Frank Frangie. So let's take our first break. Let's say hello to the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars, who is up in Indianapolis. Again, the Jags and the Colts kick off at 1 o'clock up from Indiana. That game, of course, will be heard right here on 92.5 FM and 1010 AM. A whole lot to get to on the first Famous Automotive and Quick Lube kickoff show of the season, brought to you by our good friends over at Clearwater Irrigation, our buddies over there.
Nice.
And we will, of course, be getting to all of our various things we got to get to today, because you know it, you love it. Keys to the game by Instant Keys, behind enemy lines, we got it all. Jam-packed kickoff show. More coming up after this.
No static ever. Download the free 1010XL app for Apple and Android devices and take us with you wherever you go. 1010XL.
Ready to snag the best deals in Jacksonville? Come by Century Firearms for unbeatable prices and an extensive inventory that caters to all tastes. From hunting to shooting, we've got it all. Brands like Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, and Kimber. Everything from sidearms to rifles. Need some gear for your upcoming outdoor adventures? We can load you up. Elevate your adventure today. San Jose and Mansion Road, online at jacksguns.com.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. One of the biggest changes we've seen in fine jewelry over the last 25 years has been the growth of jewelry designers. At Underwoods, we're the leader, bringing to North Florida the best names in designer jewelry. In fact, we carry designer lines in a similar way to how clothing stores carry designer labels. The difference is that jewelry designers have to be a little more timeless in their presentations because nobody wants to buy a fine piece of jewelry only to find out the next year it's gone out of style. That's why you'll find at Underwoods the best of the jewelry design names, those that are tried and true in pocket. Names like David Yerman, Roberto Coin, John Hardy, Marco Beachgood, Jude Francis, Lagos, Hippolyta, and a lot more are all available right now at Underwoods. So if you want the best looks in designer jewelry, stop by Underwoods, San Marco, Avondale, or the shops upon Aviva.
Introducing Fast Twitch, a new energy drink from Gatorade. Developed with 200 milligrams of caffeine to help athletes focus the mind and power the body for athletic performance. Great flavors like strawberry watermelon, glacier freeze, cool blue, and tropical mango, all designed to ignite athletic performance. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Fast Twitch, official partner of the NFL and used by the pros. On-the-go energy from Gatorade.
It's a roller coaster ride of emotions when I watch a Gator game. I'm Nate Carline. Listen for my instant reaction, brought to you by 5-Star Pizza. Bigger, better, faster pizza on 1010XL social channels.
Money Pages is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. With 20 years of helping local businesses grow, Money Pages is Jacksonville's trusted multimedia leader. Money Pages has extensive experience in magazine publishing, direct mail, digital marketing, and branding. The Money Pages complete marketing system provides advertisers with integrated fulfillment to promote your business with multiple marketing channels. To learn more about advertising locally with a brand who knows Jacksonville, visit moneypages.com.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Sauce they toss to those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Wingstop is here, and we're serving up some serious flavor. Classic wings, boneless wings, tenders, chicken sandwich, we have it all. Download the Wingstop app or order online at wingstop.com. From the new Wingstop at 96604 Argyle Forest Boulevard.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio, celebrating their 30th year. Our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is offering a 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, the perfect offer for crazy plays, like the famous butt fumble. It's the GOAT of embarrassing plays.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect today. The industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets. BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Hello, Jacksonville. I'm Greg McGeer, President and CEO of Gator Bowl Sports. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game and events have been a Jacksonville staple for more than 76 years. But we are more than just a game. We support more than 4,500 local youth annually through Gator Bowl charities initiatives. This community impact is possible by membership of more than 250 corporate, Green Jacket, and junior members. Gator Bowl Sports is a perfect way for local companies and people to get involved and give back to our community. I'd love to meet you and talk to you about how you can join our team. Call me at 798-1700.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube Kickoff Show. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL. Let's bring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Welcome back into the famous Automotive and Quick Loop Kickoff Show. Mia O'Brien alongside Tommy Mack, and pleased to be joined by our good buddy Frank Frangie up in Indianapolis, set to call the game between the Jags and the Colts today at 1 o'clock alongside Jeff Lageman, Tony Baselli, and Bucky Brooks. Frank, temperatures up there, both metaphorically and physically speaking, in Indianapolis?
Yeah, good morning, Mia and Tommy. Great to be on. I'm excited the season is here. The weather is perfect. It's going to be indoors, so it's obviously perfect. But even outdoors, it's about 60 degrees. It's beautiful. I think as far as the temperature of the team, I think these guys are ready. There's been as much expectation in this football season as any I can remember, maybe 99, 2000, maybe 18 after that 17 run. But I don't remember it feeling quite like this. So I think everybody's chomping at the bit to go. I'm chomping at the bit to go. So these are fun times.
Hey, Frank, great to hear your voice, my man, and good morning to you. You know, you talk about expectations. That's how we started the show. It's been a long time since we got expectations, especially this offense. Like, I got them scoring 33 points, Frank. Like, when's the last time we ever, opening day, we feel that good about our offense, but the confidence is high, and a big part of that is the play calling by Doug Peterson.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Tom. I think he's a great play caller. Obviously, Press is going to be involved in some of the play calling this year. Trevor certainly understands the system. You know, the big thing about the expectations thing, and Tom, you can speak to this better than we can because you guys live it, is when so much is expected and then something goes wrong. Then you're expecting to have the greatest season ever, and then you fumble a punt on the first possession of the year. You know what I mean? Or something. I think what young teams have to do is manage that. The only thing, I won't say concerns me because it doesn't concern me, but the only thing I'll watch we saw with the Chiefs the other night. Chiefs lost, you know, so, and they had the ultimate expectation. So can you manage? Nothing goes according to script. First weeks are weird. You know, the first weeks are always funky. Can you manage when things go off script? And that'll be a big thing to watch today because I agree with you. I think they're going up and down the field.
Right. Frank Frangie joining us on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. And before I ask you what I was planning on asking you, Frank, just seeing a report now from Ian Rappaport that he spoke with Doug Peterson and the Jaguars coaching staff, and it is expected that Press Taylor will be the full-time play caller. Doug Peterson telling Rappaport, I totally trust Press. I'm curious, with your conversations with the coaching staff, if that is indeed the plan, and it is exactly what it sounds like on the surface.
I think that can be a little overrated, Mia. I think that, look, as I've said many times, you know, the offensive coordinator built the game plan. The Press Taylor's been the offensive coordinator since he got here. He built the game plan. And on game day, it's who pushes the buttons. My guess is Press will push more of the buttons. Doug trusts him, which is what he told Ian. And by the way, I did not know a lot about Doug, and I haven't had that conversation. So when I saw that story first, I saw it too. But I think what happens is they do the game plan together. Trevor's involved in the game plan. It just comes down to a play sheet is got on. You have 3 or 5 third and medium plays. And then it just comes down to who picks the third and medium play. So I think that's a little bit overrated. I think it's been Doug and Press all along. I think it's still going to be Doug and Press. I think Press is just going to have the final say more than in the past. So I was surprised by it, but I'm not shocked by it nor.
You know, I noticed in camp a lot, Frank, they were working on a lot of deep routes, a lot of deep crossing routes. It seemed like routes that took some time. Last year, there were a lot of quick throws, especially when getting Trevor back on track, you know, first read type throws. But when you try to develop those longer throws, it takes, you know, a lot of pressure, puts a lot of pressure on your offensive line. How do you feel? I love Phil Rosher. I'm very confident in him. How do you feel about Walker Little at left tackle and just the offensive line as a whole going into 2023?
A lot to unpack there, Tom. First of all, the last part of your question, I think the line's going to be fine. I think it'll probably be better when Cam Robinson gets back because then you've got more people competing for those spots. But I think the group they run out there today, Walker Little, Bart, Luke Fortner, Sheriff, and Anton Harrison is a good group. I think that group's going to be fine. I think they're probably going to help Harrison a little bit. I think you'll see them help him with a tight end here and there. I think you're going to see a lot of 12 person or a lot of 2 tight end sets today. So I think you'll see a lot of that. So I think it'll hold up. Back to your other question, I'll throw the ball down the field. I think Calvin Ridley's presence gives you that they didn't have last year. Zay Jones is fast.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever versed with Ridley's guy. So I think that changes it. But, Tom, don't look for that today. We all know, Gus Bradley. Gus is going to sit back. They don't blitz very much. They don't play a lot of man. They keep everything in front of them. And Gus Bradley's defense is kind of almost trying to bait you to throw deep balls that aren't there. So I think, Trevor completed 86% against the Colts last year in those two games because he was patient. He took the underneath throws. So I think today's a day you're going to see underneath throws way more than you're going to see the ball down the field. But to your larger point, that deep ball is there now. I'm not sure it was before, and that's one addition to this offense.
Frank Frangie joining us on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline for a few more. This is the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff Show brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. Frank, let's talk about that opposition that will be facing the Jaguars on offense, Gus Bradley's defense. I quizzed Tommy a little bit in the first segment if he could name any non-Kenny Moore member of the Colts secondary. And perhaps that's a little unfair to those undrafted free agents and second and third year guys that have been in the pipeline for Indy. But as much as we talk about how Quentin Nelson is back on the offensive line, Ryan Kelly, can they return to their Pro Bowl form? The reality is while there certainly are some still big names on this defense, it's a lot of new pieces and unproven pieces at that, is it not?
It really is. I think, listen, Shaq Leonard's a really good player. DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, their two tackles, are really good players. Anybody in the league would take Shaq Leonard as their middle linebacker and Stewart and Buckner as their two tackles. But after that, it's a lot of new names. You're exactly right about that. The defensive back you're talking about, you're right. Kenny Moore's a veteran guy. But Jalen Jones has got to play something. He's a rookie today. Darrell Baker's a really young player. He's a guy they're really counting on. So there's a lot of young guys in that secondary. That's one more reason, man, that I think you're not going to see anything exotic from the Colts defense. I think Gus Bradley keeps everything in front. Remember, too, now, the Colts want to shorten this game. Well, the last thing, to Tommy's point earlier about the offense going up and down the field, I got it 31-14 too, Tommy. So I think they're going to score too. But to your point, the Colts want to take the air into the ball. The Colts would like to play four corners in this thing, and part of that is how you play defensively. You don't blitz a lot, So I think you're going to see, if the Colts have their way, the winning team's going to be in the team. That's the game the Colts want is somebody wins 17-13. The game the Jags want is a little bit more of a track meet.
Yeah, no question about that. Let's flip it to our defense, Frank. I mean, look, Mia just alluded to the offensive line for the Colts. At one time, a very, very good offensive line. Last year, of course, due to injuries, not so much, but they're back. I tell you what, if I'm the Colts offense, I want to test the will of the Jags front seven. If there's one thing I really want to see early, is that they're not going to get pushed around. Now, granted, towards the end of last year, maybe since, I believe, after halftime against the Dallas Cowboys, I think they really started turning it on. But there were games prior to that where you're like, man, they're getting out muscle, getting out physical. Devon Hamilton not in there. Other guys like Ledbetter got to step up. But, Frank, how are you feeling about our front seven being able to look? Jonathan Taylor ain't back there, but that offensive line's there. And if they open up holes just for a little bit, those other backs can find some room.
Yeah, a couple things, and I think you're right, Tom. And Mia, you made the point. Ryan Kelly at center and Quentin Nelson at guard. That was one of the best combinations in the league. But last year they were loud. So can they come back and be back to their old form? They didn't play well. But you're right. I think the biggest thing, to your question about the front seven, Devon Hamilton missing is a big deal. For people to say it's not a big deal, they're incorrect. He was having a great camp. He's a big two-gap guy. They even left him in on some pass rush situations. Now Foley Fatukasi's got to go play nose guard. Adam Gotts starts at that end spot. So no, that's a big. Don't kid yourself. That deal matters. So not having him does concern me. But the bigger concern for today's game, Anthony Richardson's not going to complete a high percentage of passes. He completed under 50% in the preseason. The other two quarterbacks are both in the 70s. That's just how he plays. My concern is, Tom, he'll miss 4 or 5 straight throws, and then he'll hit a 70-yarder because he's got that big arm, or he'll be 3rd and 16 because they're not playing well and they're behind the sticks, and then he'll scramble for 25 yards. Mm-hmm. You worry about the off-schedule plays with Richardson. He's hard to tackle. He's very fast. He's very physical. And I think they're going to have a lot of quarterback run stuff in today, whether it's RPO stuff, whether it's naked. I think there's going to be a lot of quarterback run stuff in the game plan today. And, yeah, that's a concern. You got to keep him. You got to make him beat you from the pocket. That's a big part of the game plan.
Which is the linebacker's big day today, right? If they're going to try that RPO, they have got to be on point. If you got the QB, go to the QB. If you got the dive or the back or what have you, go there. But those 4 are going to have to keep AR in check when it comes to those planned RPO run calls.
No, that's exactly what you football players like know this. That whole eye discipline thing really matters in this game. It really matters. In a game like this, that matters more than when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, So it's really going to matter today. Stay home, stay in your lane. You're right, linebackers have to play well, and they've got to tackle Anthony Richardson. He's hard to tackle. You got to tackle him.
And as I've noted to Tommy, now I believe twice, Frank, Deion Jackson was the leading rusher for the Colts the last time that these two teams faced. So obviously he isn't Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss, but certainly has had this team's number once before and could be a security blanket for one Anthony Richardson. Now, I never ask you for a score prediction since you are calling the game right here on 1010 AM and 92.5 FM. But Frank, give me your impact player for the Jacksonville Jaguars in this Week 1 opener.
Yeah, I think number one, it's got to be someone on offense because that's just who they are. For me, and it can change a lot, I'm going to give you Tank Bigsby. Okay, I'm going to give you a guy that's not going to start the game. I just think he is going to have an impact. I think he's going to change the game a little bit, Mia. I think he's a guy. I don't know that he's going to have better stats than Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne's a really good player, and I love that they have both of them. But I think he will impact the game. I think when that game's over, he will have made a play. He will have scored a couple touchdowns. I think Tank Bigsby is we're going to walk away from this game going, you know what? Number 4 is really going to help the cause here. So put me down for Tank Bigsby. How about that? How about that a surprise pick right out of the gate?
I mean, I'm the one who sat here in this seat on this very station and said 50-50 in terms of carries between him and Etienne. Now, I think Travis may have proved me wrong there in that third and final preseason game, Frank and Tommy, just because he is, in my opinion, seeing inside tackles. He is seeing inside zones and holes so much better than he was at points last year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, look, I love Tank too, and I love Etienne. For Tank, just hold on to the ball, and when it's 3rd and 1, don't get stuffed. Like, you got to get that first down. That's what you're here for. So I love the speed. I think he sees the field extremely well. I mean, he does. His cuts are phenomenal. But I agree, Frank. He's exciting to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing him in real action now.
A very big part of their offense. A very, very big part of both those running backs. A big part. So I can't wait to get this thing started.
And of course, we're looking forward to your call of the game, Frank. Again, Frank Frangie, Tony Baselli, Jeff Logman, Bucky Brooks coming up 1 o'clock, and of course, we will have all of your pregame coverage leading up until then. Frank, thanks so much.
Okay, me and Tommy, thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
There he goes, the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars on the All-Pro Roofing.
Yeah, exciting. Everybody's excited. I mean, we are. If you're just waking up or you're having your cup of joe and some breakfast, the juices are getting for you. Some of you may be cracking your first beer for all we know, and God bless you for doing so. But it's an exciting time. Jags on the road, but look, what's the theme? Expectations, right? Everyone's got these expectations. Here's the big thing, though. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but I will for a little bit. Team of destiny. Well, last year they had some destiny and fate, right? All bounced their way. That Dallas ending, great play by Rayshon, but that was a freak play. You know what I mean? I mean, ball bounces, a great blitz by Jenkins in the Tennessee game. Bounces right into Josh's breadbasket, and boom, there's nobody there. Takes it to the house. Hey, those are great plays. That's part of what makes a season special. So we got that. And then number 2, now the X is on our back. The target's on our back. We're not sneaking up on anybody. We're not a feel-good story. Oh, look at the little engine that could crap. We're a legitimate contender, and everybody believes it. And we're going to have that target on our back. Can we, as a team, handle that? And then crush that, and then just beat through it and win ball games. We're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out, and we're going to hear from some of those players on that team inside the locker room coming up next.
Nice.
This is the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff Show brought to you by Fast Twitch by Gatorade and Clearwater Irrigation. We've got almost 100 of you watching live on YouTube. I'm not usually awake at 8:38 unless it's the Kickoff Show on a Sunday, Tommy Mack.
Hi, Mom.
All of you guys for joining us on
morning.
Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Yes.
We will be right back getting you ready for the Jags and the Colts coming up at 1 p.m.
A Baseball Radio?
1976 caller wants his hairstyle back.
Decide for yourself. Watch 1010XL on YouTube. Search 1010XL Video, all one word, to see shows, podcasts, and more.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn. Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty. a proud partner of the Jaguars. Next time you want to live life slightly salty in Bartram, head over to Hurricane's Grill and Wings and enjoy brackish vodka with your favorite wings.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Roland, 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 we're all calling Roland. The toilet's overflowing over.
When hairballs, grease, and goo just won't let that water through, you need Roland Reach Plumbing by your side. When you have got a leak and you just can't wait a week, call 260-7059. Roland Reach Plumbing.
Even as prices seem higher on almost everything lately, you can count on Famous Quick Lube to still have the best price in town on quick oil change service. Visit any of their 13 locations, including the new shop on San Jose and now in Jax Beach. The Famous team will have your oil changed, tires rotated, and fluids topped off before you can finish your coffee. For fast, friendly service, personal VIP attention, and the best price in town, go to Famous Quick Lube, servicing every customer like they're famous.
Fish are good at hiding. Captain Kevin can help you find them.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Thursday nights at 6.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss on 1010XL AM.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here from Pella Windows and Doors. These intense summer storms are a good reminder to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Check out Pella's new Hurricane Shield and Defender series. These amazing windows exceed all coastal requirements for storm protection. Seriously, they can withstand the impact of a 2x4 shot out of a cannon at 50 feet per second. If you want quality style and protection, visit PellaJax.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway right next to Tesla. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey guys, this is David Garrard, and I want to tell you about Clearwater Irrigation. They put my new sprinkler system in at my new home at Jax Beach, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, hey John.
What's up, Dave? You know what this means. You're gonna have to sing.
Man, I can't sing.
Then you'll fit right in, buddy. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. Hit it, Dave.
And drainage too.
ClearwaterJags.com. Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, and happy to report that Dandy has some brand new goodies, and they're only available at select Gate stores around town. 5 delicious new breakfast items to start your day off right. Fresh buttermilk biscuits, flaky croissants, French toast, maple waffles, all matched up, country sausage, ham, or bacon. Meal of the day, so go out and make yours a dandy just a little bit earlier tomorrow.
Hometown flavor cooking for you. Yeah.
The First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's Best in the Orthopedic Practice and Physical Therapy and Rehab Centers categories once again. For the last 29 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
This is the injury
Protecting
report,
you and your
right?
family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, getting game day underway. The famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube Kickoff Show. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL.
Here we go.
Welcome back into the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. Mia O'Brien, Tommy McMahon is hanging with you until 10. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in from all around the world, whether it's up in Indianapolis where the Jaguars are set to face the Colts, or right here in Duval, or wherever you may be. Again, we're working through some technical difficulties. If you are listening on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, those will be rectified soon, and so we appreciate you hanging with us. And without further ado, Tommy, let's hear from our first Jaguar of the program, Hayes Carlyon, who, of course, is boots on the ground live in Indianapolis as we speak, and will join us in the 9 o'clock hour, caught up with one of the heroes, one of those guys who the ball bounced his way that you were just alluding to, Rayshawn Jenkins. Let's hear from number 2.
We're pleased to be joined with Rayshawn Jenkins here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, man. I'm good. I'm good. Ready for the season opener.
Yeah, you're getting fired up. What a lot of challenges that they present. What stands out about Indianapolis?
Just new guys, first year players, first year coaches and stuff like that. So we'll have to really go into like some old stuff and really try to go watch some old film of these guys, previous teams they were at, maybe go back into college, see the athleticism of the QB and stuff like that, and just play our game. We know that if we play our game, then it's going to be hard for them to beat us.
Rayshawn, what kind of camp do you think the defense had?
Great camp. We gelled together better than I thought in previous years. It's familiar scheme, familiar faces. I want to say everybody came back except one player. And yeah, man, so the chemistry is there, and all we have to do is go put it together on Sunday.
What's it been like playing with Andre and developing that relationship with him?
Oh, it's been great, man. He's a young professional. Reminds me a bit of myself, when I first got in the league. He's always on the details and always asking questions, always willing to learn. I think that's probably the best thing, is always willing to learn and not really thinking, he knows everything.
In terms of going up against a rookie quarterback, does that get you a little bit, does that bring a little bit more excitement, because those guys, they tend to take sacks, they tend to be a little bit more mistake prone because they just haven't seen it yet?
I guess so in a sense, but this guy's a good player, that's why he was drafted, I want to say, I don't even know, fourth overall. So, of course he has a very good skill set, but at the same time, there's always a learning curve, especially at the QB position. In my opinion, it's the hardest position on the field to play and kind of adapt to, especially when you don't have a veteran in the room with you to kind of learn from and kind of teach you the thought process. So, there'll be some mistakes. He'll make his plays, and at the end of the day, we just have the defense just has to do what we do.
How was Gotsis and Ledbetter stepped up with Devon Hamilton out?
Man, they've done a tremendous job, especially a guy like AG that plays multiple positions across the front. Physical guy, just does what is asked of him every time. Ledbetter has done a good job as well, coming there and really help contribute to, what we've already kind of been doing, which was stopping the run and just putting a big emphasis on that, so it makes the back end job a little bit easier.
Awesome. Rayshawn Jenkins, thanks so much. Best of luck to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Not only is he a guy, Tommy, that the ball bounced his way the second half of the season, but when we hear this national perspective of, were the Jags just lightning in a bottle? Was it just a matter of the ball bounced their way? Or is this team actually developing and ascending? I thought Rayshawn Jenkins, certainly, he still so much more improved in the first half of last year than he did the year prior to that he continued to grow. He's a guy who, when you look at his trajectory and his growth, it is that upward northeast, if you may, line.
Yeah, and they got him at the right time. I mean, he just finished his fourth year with the Chargers, was a starter, came here. And last year, I think he had a Pro Bowl, All-Pro kind of year. I mean, he had a really, really good year as a safety in this league, stopping the run, covering and that type of thing, and making plays. I think Cisco needs to be more consistent, but he has the potential to be a very, very good safety in this league. He showed flashes last year. I think them together are very good together. And, I feel pretty good overall about their secondary. I do. I mean, obviously, Tyson, he's one of the best cover guys out there right now. Darius Williams, let me tell you something. When Tyson was out and he had to go one-on-one, he stepped up, man. He did, taking care of some of the top receivers on the Jags, during camp and whatnot. Herndon holds down the fort. I think I think Gregory Jr. may get in there a little bit. I want to see him blitz, to be honest with you. And that's one thing I think we're going to see about Caldwell. We're going to see those safety blitzes. Remember, they sent Cisco on occasion. Rayshon, one of the biggest plays of the entire year, was on a safety blitz. A great call right at the right time. And look, I trust in Doug, and I trust in the offense. So I also trust in Doug that he knows the defense as well, and he believes in Mike Caldwell. So I'm going to give the same benefit of the doubt. Hey, it's year 2 in Doug Peterson's offense. It's year 2 in Mike Caldwell's defense. And I'm looking for it. And he even said it on some sound that 10-10 played during the week. He's like, look, we were still kind of feeling guys out, what they could do, how we could trust them. And as the year went on, you saw more and more aggressive play calling. I think he starts out aggressive today.
I had a buddy send me his over-under lines for sack totals.
Yep.
And this was obviously before Devon Hamilton was placed on IR, and so I think he had him in like the 4 to 6 category. Ditto to RRH. The two that I would say play the over on sacks, Roy Robertson Harris, so long as he also continues on that upward trajectory. And you're going to hear from him coming up in the 9 o'clock hour as well, El Capitan. But the other one, since you brought him up, he only had Andre Cisco at 2.5 sacks. I said, pound that baby all the way. The over, pound the over. Pound the over on that one, because I see a world where he is absolutely one of the most physical tacklers on this team, one of the guys who clearly can come up and run support, but he can get after the quarterback too. So him, and then also, like you noted, that nickel position, historically, that is the position that you need to bring pressure from if you're going to bring someone from the secondary after the quarterback. Trey Herndon has that ability. I know he gets dogged a lot in this town, but he is another one that, despite what you may hear, they believe he's a sure tackler in that building, and they're going to bring him up.
Yeah.
It's the way it's going to be.
Well, I love the selective trust out there, right? We trust in everything else, but no, Trey Herndon shouldn't be starting. Well, he's starting for a reason, because the coaches believe that he's the best nickel corner they have. The reason a nickel's easiest to blitz is because they're near the line of scrimmage. They're close to your outside players, so it's an easy transition, as opposed to that quarterback seeing the safety creep down, you know what I mean, to time up that blitz, or the corner creeping in, that type of thing. So yeah, it should be an aggressive day on both sides of the ball for our Jags. And I think on defense, again, like Frank said, Foley moving to nose, which I'm sure they're going to switch it up. It's not going to be locked, in stone, so to speak. But I want to see this defensive front get after it. I think they have a lot to prove, and they should. They should feel like, hey, we do want to start off like we finished, because there were times last year. Look, it was funny. Like early they were good, and then they weren't good for a little while, and then they started getting good again, and then they finished pretty darn good overall. So let's see that. Roy Robertson Harris. Hey, look, his first half probably wasn't that great of a year. Not terrible, but not that great. But then it started clicking. There's something to it, man. There's timing and everything. There's trust in the guy next to you. This one gap, we didn't play one gap, we played 2 gap, but one gap, you do have to be disciplined to that gap. You really do. Now, you can't be a robot either, so it's gap to the ball. It's not just, okay, I got my gap, my job's done. No, it's, you gap integrity, which means your gap's good. The play goes away from you, you shouldn't be in the gap to your side. You should be running to the football, which they do. So it is very important to be disciplined, and today they're going to have to be very disciplined, like we talked about. Those 4 backers, I tell you what, I was saying on the podcast, catching up with Tommy Mack, if you think of the 4 linebackers like a W, right? Mm-hmm. Those 4, you got to keep AR within that bubble. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're an outside guy, he doesn't get outside you. If you're the third guy, he's going away from you, don't overrun it. You got to be patient. And I'll tell you another thing, and one thing I wasn't good at. I always wanted the knockout hit in the open field, because it's just the greatest hit ever. Like, you come up in the open field and you knock the living crap out of the guy. But the majority of the time, you miss those. You got to gather and just grab, and then just get them down to the ground. That's what they're going to have. That's what Frank's talking about. Like, I'm worried about tackling him. Like, it's not the big knockout blow like we saw Shaq hit Derrick Henry. Those are great. They're phenomenal. But you got to get the guy down, especially on 3rd down. So hopefully those 4 guys, they need help with the interior, so those linemen can't get their paws on them, but they're going to have to contain Anthony Richardson today.
We know for sure this team will be without Devon Hamilton. Let's take a look at who else may or may not play with today's Farrah injury update.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Since it's week one, we'll get this out of the way. Devon Hamilton, Cooper Hodges, both on short-term IR. Those guys would be eligible to be activated to begin the reacclimation period after week 4, so heading into week 5. Should be noted as well, Tommy, Dewan Smoot, still on the physically unable to perform list, would also be eligible. I got to catch up with him a little bit in the locker room this week, and that's a fun little wrinkle. That as much as you don't want to bank on a guy coming off of an Achilles tear, but he is pumped. I talked to him this week, and he's very, very ready to get back out there.
You know, so. I'm guilty, out of sight, out of mind for Dwayne Smoot, but you're right, and at the insert him at the right time, you're going to light a fire in that locker room, man. They love that guy. And look, he's all Duval. He plays hard.
I talked to him, too.
All the time.
I said to him, I was like, when that report came out about him possibly going for a visit to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he just was like, you know me. If it could get done here, he was going to get the deal done here. He wanted to be here. So, but the Jaguars will be without him. Yeah. So that's obviously one less person that could potentially be stopping Anthony Richardson out there week 1 today.
Yeah, and they did. They upgraded a D lineman.
Correct. Yep. So let's hit that. So we do know that the 2 rookies, Tyler Lacey with the shoulder and Antonio Johnson with the hamstring injury, they have both been ruled out for this game already. The Jaguars have elevated former highly touted Houston Texans draft pick Ross Blacklock, who was signed to the practice squad earlier this week. He has been elevated, so obviously he increases that depth up front as well.
Yeah, you may need him, right? You may need him. Look, I love Gotsis, but I like him coming off the bench. You know what I mean? He can play nose. I wouldn't play him at nose every single snap because that's a lot of wear and tear. And he's not a small guy, but he's just not a massive, like a Devon Hamilton can handle. And Foley, Fadakasi can handle the double team when you're, on that nose. But they're going to have some rotation. Ledbetter's going to have to play a lot today, I would imagine. Gotsis as well, more so than probably than you were expecting if Devon was healthy. And then we'll see the other guys rotate in and, make some plays, baby. Make some plays.
Meanwhile, for the Colts, we already mentioned Zach Moss has been downgraded to doubtful, so the Colts presumably will be without who is their lead tailback without Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
Shaq Leonard did pass through concussion protocol, the artist formerly known as Darius Leonard, so he is expected to play against the Jaguars for the first time in nearly 2 years.
Ooh,
he is good.
Good
The curious one, though, and it's funny, Tommy, I have people inside the building on staff texting me asking if any of my guys in Indianapolis had heard anything. DeForest Buckner popped up on the injury report, was limited on Friday with a forearm injury. So he's officially listed as questionable for this game. Haven't heard anything since, but what was so curious about this, to take you guys who are listening either on the app, on terrestrial radio, YouTube, we love all you guys, we appreciate you, to take you kind of behind the curtain, we got the injury report Friday around, I believe it was like 2 or 3 o'clock. And then they sent an updated injury report around 3:30. On Friday. And that one included DeForest Buckner with the forearm and being limited. So
it happened Friday.
So no one really knows exactly what that injury is, if it's significant, if it was just he got nicked up and so they held him out of team drills. But that's obviously one that we're going to be keeping tabs on.
Taven Bryan.
Well,
he is the backup. He's one of the backups, and he's listed on second team. So, hey, let's see if he gets in there, right?
I'm going to call an audible. Let's take our next break. Let's head into the 9 o'clock hour. Hour number 2 of the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. We will hear from Brandon Scherf, one of your 5 captains of your Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll also hit our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. This is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Something happens when you begin to believe. What seems way off in the distance gets closer.
You focus on what needs to get done, and you'll let nothing get in your way.
Next year becomes this year, and maybe next time becomes now.
I'm on the air.
The whole city will rally behind you and begin to believe too. Because when you believe, the unbelievable can happen. We believe in justice for everyone, and we believe we're the attorneys to help people get it. Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Committed to the team, committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit. So
board
we pass
audio
the
is what
savings
needs to be
along to
turned
our
on.
members. Because
Mics
at
were
Navy
turned
Mutual,
on.
our highest commitment
So
is
the
to
actual
you.
mics, I guess.
Visit
were here.
NavyMutual.org.
But now I just
Navy
typed in
Mutual,
his producer cam is
ensuring
turned
those
on.
who serve.
So it's as if it's
Make sure
coming
your
from
home is protected this
wherever
hurricane
the
season
camera
by
is.
scheduling a complimentary roof
So
inspection
we'll
with
confirm
Universal Roof and Contract. Right now, get 10% off roof replacement and repairs.
right now.
First 50
But yeah,
callers
so
will
the
save an
issue is
additional
it needs to be
$500
board audio,
on
but
a
all the
full
other
roof
mics
replacement.
should be turned
This
off.
offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
No, so it didn't turn off. So the only one that I texted him I have concerns about is your
Rev up your driving game and unleash automotive excellence at Osteen Volkswagen of Jacksonville, where German engineering powers every new ride. Hi, it's Coach Dave Campo. Osteen Automotive is not just about cars. It's 27 years of family-owned operation and giving back. Visit Osteen Volkswagen today and discover the perfect blend of precision and compassion. Enjoy 3 years of free maintenance on all new Volkswagens. OsteenVW.com.
Have breakfast with Hall of Famer Tony Baselli. He may even bring his gold jacket.
Got a feeling he's going to be on his best behavior.
Monday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Group and Mr. Rooter Plumbing of Jacksonville. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
It was because we were.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments
so when we
for
go
all
here,
of their positions. Simply schedule your appointment on your
so on
cell
average,
phone, tablet, or desktop.
Okay.
JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Okay.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy classic wings, sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Wingstop is here, and we're serving up some serious flavor. Classic wings, boneless wings, tenders, chicken sandwich, we have it all. Download the Wingstop app or order online at wingstop.com from the new Wingstop at 96604 Argyle Forest Boulevard.
Ready to snag the best deals in Jacksonville? Come by Century Firearms for unbeatable prices and an extensive inventory that caters to all tastes. From hunting to shooting, we've got it all. Brands like Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, and Kimber. Everything from sidearms to rifles. Need some gear for your upcoming outdoor adventures? We can load you up. Elevate your adventure today at Century Firearms, where we make buying guns easy. San Jose and Mandarin Road, online at jacksguns.com.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM and FM. Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL. Home sweet home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Starting your game day.
The famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube Kickoff Show. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL.
9 o'clock hour is here. Hour number 2 of the Kickoff Show right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Mia O'Brien, Tom McManus, producer Casey Dobson. On the ones and twos, Hayes Carline set to join us around 9:20, and Hayes actually caught up. The Hammer caught up not only with Rayshon Jenkins, but one of the Jaguars' 5 captains, Brandon Scherf, along the offensive line earlier this week. Let's hear from El Capitan. Go Hawks.
We're pleased to be joined with Jaguars right guard Brandon Scherf here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Family good?
Doing great.
Awesome. They're getting excited for the season?
Yes, they are. So, it's we came from Iowa, so they're enjoying the hot weather down here and the pool life, so it's been good.
That's awesome. Congratulations on being named a captain again. What does that mean to you?
It means you're just doing the right things, and I write that as a goal for every year is just to lead by example, and I'm just glad that I'm doing the right things that everybody respects. So just got to continue on doing that and leading people the right way.
Now, what kind of camp do you feel like you've had, Brandon, getting ready for the opener?
I feel like a good camp. It's like I said, it's kind of hard to get used to this weather, but once you spend 6 or 7 weeks in it, you're starting to get used to it. So I think we're ready to roll. We're excited to finally, get into the season and start going against different teams instead of hitting our own guys.
Sure. Buckner is obviously an outstanding player. What kind of challenges does he present on the line?
Him and Grover are one of the best, I would say, D tackle duos there is in the NFL. So we got a heck of a task ahead of us. It's just doing the things that we can control and he's a great player, so it's going to be a great challenge for us.
There was obviously a lot of mixing and matching because of injuries and so forth along the line in camp, but it seems like you guys have now had enough time to get the starting five kind of set.
Yep.
Are you pleased with the chemistry that you guys have been able to build?
Yeah, I think so. I think during the last couple practices we've been doing a good job at communication. It's going to be loud in Indy, so Coach Peterson added crowd noise in there too. So that just provides a different challenge for us. So it's been good to be able to get all that silent count, whatever we have to do to all get off at the same page. But I think our communication, verbally and non-verbally, has been really well.
Does it feel like you guys have an answer offensively for anything a defense wants to throw because of the run game, because of Trevor and the weapons outside?
I think we got a good offense. We got, like you said, good weapons on the outside. Trevor, Travis, and we're just gonna whatever play they call, we're gonna try to execute at our best. So that's what our goal is.
You got the gold C now, right?
I think so. Is that what it is? 5?
I think.
Yeah, then I do. Yeah.
What kind of an honor is that for you? I mean, not just to be voted, but to have so many seasons where your teammates in 2 different stops have said, this is a guy that can lead us.
I think it's great. That's why I set that as a goal before the season, and I'm just honored to carry that 5 times. So hopefully there's a few more times, but we're just going to focus on this year and do the best we can.
Brandon, what's it like? You walk out there for the coin toss, you see these guys. Obviously, it's intense. It's the opener, but it seems like there's a little bit of a friendly moment there when you kind of greet your colleagues on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great challenge for us, and I think everybody on their side as well is just excited to get the season rolling. This is what we dream about doing. At least when I was a kid, this is what I dreamed about doing. So, I feel like a little kid being able to step out there another time and play the game that we love.
Brandon Sheriff, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, he was a happy customer, probably watching on the plane or once I got to Indy, seeing the Hawks defeat the hated Iowa State Cyclones yesterday as well. But certainly a heat difference between up there in the Midwest and down here in Florida. And we thank Hayes for catching up with both Brandon Scherf and Rayshawn Jenkins. But Scherf's a guy, Tommy Mack, that was banged up, and a lot of people didn't realize that. The injury that Josh Wells actually, since I failed to mention him during the injury report, was just released with an injury settlement, although the understanding from what I've been told is he's going to hang around here in town. He's going to rehab in Jacksonville from that adductor injury, and then if the Jaguars need to bring him back, he's here. He knows the playbook. But that's an injury, although not as severe, that Scherf was dealing with all last year. And so perhaps that's why I know Jaguar fans were like, he's supposed to be this perennial all-pro. Well, you couple that injury with he also had a rookie center and, quite frankly, a project at right tackle on the other side of him in Jawan Taylor, a reclamation project, if you may.
Well, one thing I love about Scherf, and you're right, one thing, look, offensive linemen get beat up. They're getting pounded. It could be simple as, think about this, like, you bruise your and you people out there know, you get hurt in the weight room, you just get hurt in general. You bruise your shoulder and you can't lift it above your head, right? I mean, just something won't let it go up or out, or they've got these kind of injuries all the time. If they've got an abductor injury, that's your core, that's your stomach, your groin, all of that and you use that a ton in football. So for him to gut it out, but you hear stories like that. They play through hernias, they play through tears, they're just rugged individuals. That's why you want them on your team, because they're nasty and they're professional and they get after it. I'll tell you that I said this a lot watching Scherf during camp. If you're a guard out there, an offensive lineman out there, you watch Brandon Scherf take off out of his stance. It's some of the most violent first step punch that you'll see out there. And, he mentions Grover Stewart. Nobody out there is like, who's Grover Stewart? Well,
Good player.
Listen to what Brandon Scherf says, right? He's obviously a very, very good player. 6'4", like 320, can get after it. Look, you think about that. When you're an offensive lineman, you might be 6'4", 320. Then you got to go against a guy that's a defensive lineman that's the same size, maybe a little bit quicker than you, maybe a little bit more athletic than you, and you got to be nasty with them. And that's what Scherf brings to nice guy off the field. That's the best. That's the best. Be as competitive as you can be on your court, your diamond, your field. Be a gentleman, be a lady, be just a good person off the field. He's all of that. But when it comes time to play, he's all business. And that resonates, Mia. That makes the guy next to you want to do the same. Like, oh, wait a minute. We're driving these guys into the ground, and we're burying them, and we're pushing them around, maybe giving them a little bit of a shove, just as the whistle's blowing. That makes me want to do that too. And then it resonates across the 5, and then you become a badass offensive line. I'm telling you, you need that kind of offensive line, I think, because they set the tone. Like if this was I always think of a football game like a rumble. This is a fight. Like after the game, you shake hands on it, but during the game, it's a fight. Who are you leading with? You're leading with your O-line and D-line. You're leading with the big dudes, with the attitude. And that's what Brandon Scherf brings to the table.
Those are both certainly keys in today's Jaguars-Colts game. Let's hit a few more.
Now, the keys to the game. Brought to you by Instant Keys, fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
So, Tommy, you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to just stick a pin in it, and I kind of stored it away in the back of my mind. You mentioned earlier about how we thought this Jaguars defense, it was built, in the words of Gus Bradley, the first 3 weeks of last year. Even the first 4 weeks, despite all the struggles up in Philly and that hurricane. And a lot of that was obviously Trevor Lawrence with multiple turnovers. Again, in a hurricane.
Miles Sanders had a huge day that day, if you remember.
Exactly.
Yep.
Then they go missing for 5 weeks.
Yep.
Then they slowly reemerge. The common denominator between that ebb and flow and a personal player's performance, 41, Josh Allen. Did he not look like a Pro Bowler those first 3 weeks? And then he disappeared during the 5-game losing streak. And then as the Jaguars reemerge, so did 41. I don't think he can do it all by himself. And I think that's where the injury to Devon Hamilton is really, quite frankly, a problem. Because I think that Josh Allen really needs that interior push. He needs to have 1 or 2 other guys that are able to create, as we saw in 2019, his rookie season.
Right.
Where he had Calais Campbell, he had Yannick Ngakoue that allowed for him to have 10.5 sacks. You don't have that.
Right.
Unless Trayvon Walker takes a massive step forward. But I think that as 41 goes, so does this team. And I think that it's a lot to put on a player, especially in a contract year, but he knows it.
Yeah.
And not that he should be trying to do everything himself, but I think that when the opportunities present itself, he needs to capitalize on it. And that's where then this team starts clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, and you make great points. He can't do it by himself because if he's the only one penetrating, guess who gets double teamed? Josh Allen gets double teamed. When other guys start penetrating, like a Calais Campbell, like an Ngakoue, like a Foley Fatukasi, like Trayvon Walker, he's supposed to, right? Then you got to mix it up. You can't just always go to Josh Allen. So the whole, yes, it does rely on him to a certain degree, but it just shows you how down that line is so important, right? I think Foley Fatukasi is one of the keys. If he can stay healthy. This guy, remember, a year ago, he was their #1 defensive target in free agency. I remember talking to my friends up with the Jets. They're like, you're going to love this guy. He is unbelievable. He disrupts. He'll be in the backfield. And guess what? When healthy, he does play like that. He showed that in spurts. So I think whether it's staying healthy or just playing as a unit, let's be honest. Josh Allen wasn't the only guy to disappear in games last year. There were others. Trayvon Walker, you didn't hear his name sometimes at all. Some of D linemen, you never heard their name being called. It's not rocket science. You're watching a game on TV. You're watching it in the stadium, watching it on the field. You know who's around the ball. You can see who's making plays. So they got to be more consistent. And Josh Allen, yes, he has to be more consistent. But again, the other guys have to step up so he gets those one-on-one opportunities to make sure he can make a difference on them.
Staying on the defensive side of the ball, when we look back to last year's 2 games against Indianapolis, that was before the switch was made to, well, not the switch, but Shaq Griffin went on IR with the back injury. And then after a few games of trying to play Trey Herndon outside and Darius Williams trying to fit that circle peg into a square hole, they ultimately said, you know what, let's move him back to his natural position outside and put Trey Herndon at his natural position inside. I think it's a feather in the Jags' cap that in order to stop Anthony Richardson, they will play more zone, which is a strength of Trey Herndon since obviously he struggles in man-to-man coverage. And so I think, for me, they are banking on picking up where they left off last year with those three. And they have said all off season long, Trey is our third corner. He is our third best corner. He is our nickel. And I think if those three can just pick up where they left off, then you will continue to see those three. If they can't, oh, well, that's why it's a major key to the game.
Yeah, well, no doubt about that. And look, in the defense of all the nickel corners out there, probably the toughest position to play. And the reason is you're in the middle of the field. You don't know where and the guy you're going against is shifty. He's quick. He'll put you out of your shoes, break your ankles, all that kind of stuff. And by the way, it's a split second, right? So if I just think about this, fake outside, come inside, you may have me for a step. I may catch up to you, but that receiver's open for a split second. And if there's no pressure, the quarterback's going to make that throw. I think you will see a lot of zone today. I know this. Look, what did the Chargers do to us last year in the playoff game? Right? They sat on a lot of routes. Because why? Because the game plan was first reads, get it out quick, get into a rhythm. What did they do? Okay, we made disguise that we're not going to do it, but at the end of the day, we're going to sit on those quick routes. And so I think the Jags will do some of that today. Look, Gus may try that for his defensive unit, but I think we're going to be able to move the ball pretty good, running and throwing today. But for our defense, I could see them sitting on letting, okay, Anthony, here you are. Here's our bubble. Can you break through it? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but we're going to find out today, and we're going to find out early.
Those are our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. When we return, we say hello to the Hammer. Hayes Carline, live up in Indianapolis. This is the famous Automotive and Quick Lube show. Wow, we're gonna get used to this. I promise. We got 17 weeks of this. We're gonna get it down. Famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff Show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation.
There's something special about radio play-by-play. Always has been. In Jacksonville, your place for play-by-play is 1010XL.
Mia here. As a bettor, you demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL, college football, and a brand new cash-out system give you options to bet and win all season long. First two legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet, or let it ride for the chance at a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for an entire season filled with odd boosts, fresh bets, and super contests. This is the best time of the year to get your bets in and start the football season off with some winners. To get started, go to mybookie.ag now and register for an account for free. When you're ready to make your first deposit, just use promo code 1010XL to grab a welcome bonus totally on the house. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus and, for a limited time, a free chip to use in the MyBookie casino. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.
She's supposed to see you.
Right.
This is Fast Twitch, a new energy drink from Gatorade.
Can you hear me?
Fast Twitch, an energy drink from Gatorade in 6 different flavors, including strawberry watermelon, cool blue, and tropical mango. And available at your local Winn-Dixie.
Start Fast Twitch, a new energy drink from Gatorade.
On-the-go energy from Gatorade. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie.
What about now?
Money Pages is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. With 20 years of helping local businesses grow, Money Pages is Jacksonville's trusted multimedia leader. Money Pages has extensive experience in magazine publishing, direct mail, digital marketing, and branding. The Money Pages complete marketing system provides advertisers with integrated fulfillment to promote your business with multiple marketing channels. To learn more about advertising locally with a brand who knows Jacksonville, visit moneypages.com.
Jeff Lageman, Kevin Faber, and Kirk Waltz bring you into the outdoors.
We've got 3 big bucks.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter. 7 to 10 every Saturday morning on 1010XL.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy classic wings, sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Wingstop is here, and we're serving up some serious flavor. Classic wings, boneless wings, tenders, chicken sandwich, we have it all. Download the Wingstop app or order online at wingstop.com. From the new Wingstop at 96604 Argyle Forest Boulevard.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting!
Hello, Jacksonville. I'm Greg McGarity, President and CEO of Gator Bowl Sports. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game and events have been a Jacksonville staple for more than 76 years. But we are more than just a game. We support more than 4,500 local youth annually through Gator Bowl charities initiatives. This community impact in the football game are made possible by our membership of more than 250 corporate Green Jacket and junior members. Gator Bowl Sports is a perfect way for local companies and people to get involved and give back to our community. I'd love to meet you and talk to you about how you can join our team. Call me at 798-1700.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit Dream. Step up your game.
Tired of feeling like a number at big chain auto repair shops? Then buckle up, because Famous Automotive and Quick Lube is here to revolutionize your car care experience. They don't just fix cars. Famous Auto Techs work magic on the front end, brakes, tires, to transform your ride into an engineering marvel.
You want to hear
I think you're getting a little dramatic here. Well, why settle for mediocrity when you can get the famous service at Famous Automotive?
He's going to want to hear that.
By Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, the famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube Kickoff Show, presented by Clearwater Irrigation
and Gatorade Fast Twitch
on 1010XL. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
My heart is beating so fast right now. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hold on to your butt. We're putting the band back together.
because
We still have some unfinished business.
Trevor drops again. Fire. That ball caught in the right flat. Inside the 5-yard line. Ball come out. The ball came out at the end of the run. Inside the 5-yard line. Never get out of the fight. Ever.
Listen up. This is our time now.
Trevor Lawrence. Is he going to be a superstar?
Listen up.
Come on, guys. This is our time.
This is our time.
Everybody just take a deep breath. Now, are you ready to get down to business?
This is our time now. This is our time now.
Did the Hammer want to hear that, or is that just...
How about that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo! Let's go!
Casey, great job.
Oh, here he goes on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. It is one
Yes.
Hayes Carline, fired up as the Jags get set to face the Colts in the Week 1 opener. How we doing, Carline? How are the travels up there, and what's the mood up in Indy?
Doing great. Yeah, travel was great. Weather's fantastic here. The roof will be closed today, which I think makes sense for Indianapolis, since the Jaguars would be more acclimated to warmer weather. So it will be a pristine 72 degrees in Lucas Oil Stadium today, and yeah, I think everybody's very excited. We've waited a long time for this, and now we're just a mere hours away from seeing if this can be the first step in what we believe could be the best season in franchise history.
Hammer, great to have you on the show, man. And great to be on
Tommy
with
Mack,
you, I
can't
should
wait
say.
to be with you this season.
No doubt. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, expectations high. Give me a concern you may have. I mean, look, they look great so far. They look great on paper, but you and I both know, everyone knows, it takes more than just that, right? But what's the concern of yours going into week one?
I mean, yeah, I think I think there's multiple concerns. I mean, it's week one and you're on the road against a divisional opponent. So, I mean, obviously that right there puts you at a disadvantage. Now, I think the other concerns is they have 2 game records on defense, and DeForest Buckner and Shaq Leonard. So they've got 2 guys that can make things happen. Could they force a couple of turnovers? You know, can they have the games of their career today? They're going to need to. And, you know, I think the other concern would just be, is raw as Anthony Richardson is, can he make 2 or 3 off-schedule plays that just, you know, you just basically shrug your shoulders and say, not much you can do about that. That's just a great athlete making a great play. And, you know, if he's able to do that and is able to protect the ball, then, you know, are you staring at a 2017 deficit with a minute left? So there's definitely a path for this not going the Jaguars' way. I don't think that's going to happen. But certainly there's multiple reasons why this could end up being dicey for the Jaguars today. Again, it's a 4.5-point spread, so it's not like, you know, Vegas thinks that this is an absolute rout. You know, they believe it's going to be a 60-minute game.
Hayes Carline joining us from Indianapolis on the All Pro Roofing Hotline as we go behind enemy lines, brought to you by Pella Windows and Outdoors. Hayes, the report this morning from Ian Rappaport that Press Taylor will be the primary play caller for the Jacksonville Jaguars this fall. What did you make of that?
I think it's a huge mistake. I'm interested to you know, learning more from Doug and his post game today about it. And it's nothing against Press Taylor, but I mean, Jaguar fans waited a long time for this team to be on the precipice of being elite, and to now go from having a savvy Super Bowl winning play caller as your head coach, delegating that to somebody who's never done it, I think is a gigantic problem. I would have been interested in what Shad thought about this. If I was the owner of the team and the head coach came to me with this, I'd frankly have some concerns. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't allow it, but I'd have to be convinced that it was the right thing for the club. And I think it makes me think, you know, Doug Peterson isn't a football is the only thing in my life guy. So it makes me wonder, is this now the first step in some sort of succession plan where is Doug Peterson going to be the Jaguars head coach for, you know, many more years? Is this kind of the first step in handing it off to Press Taylor? So I was really surprised by it. Like I said, eager to learn more about it. And but I thought gigantic mistake. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we didn't hear a lot about that during camp. You know, that wasn't not even a story. So the timing's interesting. But like you said, you're eager. The timing of it all. Me and Mia were looking at during a break on TV. I think it was ESPN. They had the side bets of who to bet on the side bet, and there was 2 of them. The second one was that Anthony Richardson will throw an interception today, which is very interesting. How do you feel about turnover-wise, Hammer? You know, with this defense of the Jags, you expecting a couple today? You expecting some? You know, maybe some pressure causing turnovers, or maybe some disguises causing. How do you feel in that regard with the game today?
I would be really disappointed if they don't get at least a couple. You know, when you look at Richardson, he just doesn't see the field well. I mean, and that's something that they're talking about. That's not us. You know, is guard Gator fans, you know, saying, well, he didn't do this against Kentucky. I mean, this is stuff that the Jaguars have seen in the preseason where, you know, he's throwing it 40 yards downfield where he's got a wide open guy running 15 yards across the field. It's like you just hit that play and you move on. So I think because he's not seeing the field well, I honestly, I hate when defenses do this, but I would routinely only rush 3 against them. Because I think if you drop 8, I just think he's going to see 15 defenders out there. And I do think he's going to put the ball in some bad spots. He obviously trusts his arm. as he should. He has an elite arm, but it does, I think, make him take chances that are going to give linebackers and defensive backs opportunities to make plays on the ball. And he's never seen the level of speed on a defensive side of the ball that he'll see today. So I will be disappointed if there's not a couple of turnovers for the Jaguars today. I think it sets up perfectly for them. I don't anticipate a lot of sacks because I would just control rush him. I'd be fine with Anthony Richardson throwing 45 times from the pocket. But I would not send a lot of guys at him because there's no guarantee you're going to get him down. I mean, he's a big guy, and, you know, if he gets out of a sack, now you're in danger of, is there going to be that wide open guy 40 yards downfield that's a pretty easy throw for him? So I would drop a lot of guys today. I would not try to really get after him. I would, you know, make sure that when he does take off, I've got guys in the flat that are ready for him. So I think you drop a lot of guys and make him find his spot because I don't think he can see it.
We are behind enemy lines by Pella Windows and Doors with our guy Hayes Carline up in Indianapolis. Hours. The news, obviously, that Zach Moss downgraded to doubtful for the Indianapolis Colts. How does that factor into today's game? And also, I'm just curious if you've heard anything since you got up there with regards to DeForest Buckner, a late addition to the injury report. I took our audience kind of behind the curtain of we got the injury report Friday, and then an additional one was sent out, and Buckner was on it with that forearm injury and practiced in a limited fashion on Friday.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch Buckner if it affects him at all. My guess is it won't. You know, he's such a powerful player that my guess is he'll still be out there for his normal snaps and be effective. I think it's a big challenge for Fortner and Sheriff and Barge to handle him. In terms of the Colts running back situation, yeah, I mean, Zach Moss is, you know, he actually played pretty well down the stretch when you look at his last 3 or 4 games when he was acquired from the Bills, former third-round pick out of Utah. So, you know, I mean, somebody who obviously tested well, you know, running backs to get picked in the third round obviously are productive players. You know, we've seen that now with, you know, Tank Bigsby here, and excited to see what he can do.
Pleased to be
whatever role that he has, that whatever role Press Taylor decides he's going to have. You know, in terms of looking at the Colts run game, not a lot that I think is overly concerning. If the Jaguars can handle the Colts offensive line, as long as there's not gaping holes, I think you know, I would be disappointed if the Colts running backs, when you look at, you know, their average per carry at the end of the game, I'd be disappointed if that number it does not start with a 3.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hammer, when you look at the Jaguars' offense, we know what Gus Bradley likes to do on defense, right? He's going to keep everything in front of him. How do you think, and now we may not know with Press Taylor calling shots, but how do you think the Jags' offense will attack the Colts' defense to start out?
Yeah, I think this, for whatever reason, this scheme suits Trevor's eye maybe better than any that he's seen. It was sort of the first scheme that it seemed like he had success against. You go back to, you know, the finale of his rookie season last year, his completion percentage, I want to say it was like 82% against the Colts.
Or something.
I mean, just something, ridiculous. And so, you know, I think because of what makes it difficult, I think, for Gus Bradley today is what do you take away? And that's going to be the issue for any opponent that's going up against the Jaguars because of all the weapons. I will say this. The Jaguars are concerned about the Colts nickel Kenny Moore. They think he's somebody I didn't really know much about, but it's been clear this week that Kenny Moore is a concern for them at nickel. So I don't know how much that's going to limit maybe Christian Kirk's targets. Maybe they attack the perimeter more. Evan Ingram will certainly be involved because he's a perfect mismatch for what the Colts like to do. So I would think big game for Ridley, big game for Evan Ingram, and maybe even bigger numbers for Zay Jones than Christian Kirk in the opener.
What, you don't think Gus Bradley's going to stick a linebacker on Christian Kirk and on Calvin Ridley like he has in years past?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, no doubt.
Fantastic. All right, Carline, before we let you go on the All Pro Roofing Hotline, give us your score prediction and what you think the script will look like up in Indianapolis today.
I've got it 24-9 for the Jaguars. I don't think it's going to be the offensive explosion that maybe some are expecting, just because it is Week 1. You're on the road. The crowd's going to be really fired up. You know, they're going to have a packed house. They're excited to see Richardson, their new toy. So, I think all that, to go on the road and expect 30 or more, that would surprise me. So I think a little lower scoring for the Jags, but I really think it's going to be a tough fight for the Colts offensively. Richardson will probably make one or two things happen that lead to field goals. Then maybe there's a turnover where they get, an easy 3. But I don't think they find the end zone today. I'll say the Colts settle for 3 field goals and the Jaguars win a kind of a sloppy, but no drama game. So I've got it 24-9.
Wow, all right.
I do like the under in Week 1 games, pretty much across the
I
board.
agree.
Yeah.
Just because I think
agree.
even this offense that has the potential to be the best in the National Football League, it's still got to find its footing, does it not?
That's the thing, and you're still not ready. I mean, Tommy can speak to this way more than I can, but they just don't do enough, which is fine. I mean, none of us really want them, killing themselves in the preseason and in training camp. You want to get to the starting gate as healthy as you can, but by doing that, I do think it's tough to step into this intensity offensively on the road and then march up and down the field.
Yeah, I think the run game's going to get going today. I think they're going to try to test that. I think they want to see ETN and they want to see Tank. They want to see this offensive line be able to move some people, get them out of the way. You look, Gus plays that cover 2, so the corners sit. You find that alleyway right, in between that corner and the end of the line of scrimmage. We've seen that with Scherf pulling around. We know our receivers block very well. They're going to have to block today. Sure, Trevor's going to throw it. There's no doubt. And hopefully we see some fireworks. But I expect the running game hammer to get going today. And let's see what we got on the ground.
Yeah, those are great points. And I agree. I think, you want to say, ETN, after what he did last year, he's primed, and Doug Peterson's laid it out. If he runs a little bit with more patience and squared shoulders through the hole, he thinks he has a 1,600-yard back on his hands, and they love Bixby. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they make it a little bit more of a physical ground game, just to get everybody settled in the opener and dictate it a little bit. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait, and certainly can't wait to be back with you guys next.
Ain't that the truth? Down at Tailgaters, ready for the famous Automotive and Quick Loop Kickoff show. The Carlion, the Hammer, will be back in the saddle next week. But in the interim, he's covering everything Jags for us up in Indy. And I do have to note, Hayes, before we let you go, I am enjoying watching Good Morning America right now. And they have the weather conditions for all of the NFL openers where perhaps the weather's a little dicey. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games that could be impacted by thunderstorms.
Ooh.
We're indoors. We're going to be fine.
That's right.
No issues up in Indianapolis. Hayes, have a good one, and thanks so much for joining us on the All Pro Roofing Hotline.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Later, Hammer.
There he goes.
All right.
Hayes Carlion on the All Pro Roofing Hotline. That is Behind Enemy Lines, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. One more segment to go on the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. Don't go anywhere. We're getting you ready. Less than 3.5 hours away from Jaguars football.
Ready to snag the best deals in Jacksonville? Come by Century Firearms for unbeatable prices and an extensive inventory that caters to all tastes. From hunting to shooting, we've got it all. Brands like Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, and Kimber. Everything from sidearms to rifles. Need some gear for your upcoming outdoor adventures? We can load you up. Elevate your adventure today at Century Firearms, where we make buying guns easy. San Jose and Mandarin Road, online at jacksguns.com.
Purpose, pride, and the power to protect. When winning isn't just the mission, It's your passion. You pursue it. You make power plays. You pick your team. At Farah and Farah,
Experience in 15 locations across Florida. Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust. Our certified technicians do the job right to get you in and out in no time flat. Hurry in for great deals on tires and automotive services. We offer free tire rotation, free brake inspections, rebate offers on brand name tires, and a legendary price match guarantee on every set of brand new tires. Tire Outlet, wholesale prices, premium service.
Right.
Brackish is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. 100% from corn. Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly
We can fix
salty.
this in,
A
give me
proud partner
20
of the
minutes
Jags.
and we can fix it.
Rack 'em
Like,
up
it looks
and
like
get
you're giving them an
ready for a
aneurysm
great
right now.
time with Brackish Vodka at Cue Ball
Okay,
Billiards'
cool.
new
I'm gonna
location
double check it,
at
and
the
if I have
beach.
issues, I will text you. That's the plan.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up
Right,
in the
exactly.
air?
We are on
I
the
didn't
air.
think so.
Give me 20
But in a
minutes,
way,
and then we
over
can
the
do it.
years, that
If
is
that's okay
exactly
with you.
what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home.
Okay,
Even
thank
if
you,
you have
Richie.
a
I'm
brand
sorry
new
for
home,
yelling at you.
those
I'm just,
windows
it's
are not the
looking
best
like
windows you can
people are
have to save
texting
on
and
your
calling
energy
in.
bills.
Well, guess what?
Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the
Minute
business.
20.
Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
It's raining in Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is going big.
That's right, Austin. Sports bettors can win a new truck, get the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus, and even get up to 30
Looks like we
risk-free
can go
bets.
till
Touchdown.
9:54. We have
BetUS
30
also
seconds.
has a 150% casino sign-up bonus.
Blackjack, now you're talking, Austin. They also have live dealers and live betting on sports, including racetrack.
Get started today at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
20 seconds.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, the famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube Kickoff Show, presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL.
One more segment to go on this week one edition of the famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff Show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. Me, O'Brien, Tom McManus will hand it off to the Publix Tailgate Show with JP Shadrick and friends coming up in just a little bit. But before we make our final predictions and give our final thoughts on today's Jaguars-Colts matchup, let's hear from one more member of the Jaguars team from the locker room, one of their other capitans, a first-time captain in defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars defensive lineman and captain Roy Robertson Harris. When I say that, what does that mean to you, Big Roy?
It's a blessing. It's been one of my goals as an NFL player. But I'm just, man, I'm happy that my guys feel happy and about how I work every day, and they trust me and respect me. So it's a blessing, and it's a challenge at the same time. I gotta come every single day, like I've been doing. Nothing changes, but it just gives me an extra boost to want to go harder for my guys.
You and I have talked about it, vocal leader versus lead by example. How have you viewed your growth as a leader since you came into the league?
I try and be a little more vocal. Just try and spread a little more positivity around, just in here and out on the field. Don't like talking too much on the field, but just trying to give positive vibes to the guys whenever I'm out there, and our communication, making sure our communication's on point, just little things, but not going crazy, but just little things that'll give us a little boost while we out there.
Who are some captains from your years in the league that you looked up to, or even non-captains, veteran guys that you said, hey, that's who I want to emulate myself after?
Shoot, my boy Akeem, he showed up every single day. He was working, and, it showed on the field. He was a dog out there. Anytime he stepped on the field, he was out there just handling business. And then, Danny, my boy Danny Danny Trevathan, he was out there. He was always going crazy. And then my boy T-Time, T comes to work every single day. Don't really say much. He's a chill dude, but he comes to work every day and handles business. So just getting those examples from those guys, I was excited to have that C on my chest and rep this team.
I know you're excited. Week 1 on Sunday. I know obviously on paper it's difficult because it's a first-time head coach. Never seen Shane Steichen as a head coach. Anthony Richardson, first-time quarterback. How do you prepare for those sort of obstacles?
The same way we prepare for any team. Nameless, faceless objects. We just go out there, play, do our job. Nobody has to go out there and be Superman. Everybody does their job. We're going to be in good shape. We play physical ball. Offense do their thing. We're going to be all right.
How have you seen some of the other guys on the line step up with Devon now on IR?
Man, Led's been doing his thing. I'm proud of Led. He's come in and y'all see how he performed against Detroit, and he's been doing well in practice. And AG, that's my guy since I've been here, so be able to be on the field more with him, and Foley's coming back, so it's exciting right now to have a group. We obviously miss D-Ham, and we're going to be playing for him, and can't wait to see him come back and do his thing.
Doug gave a surprising stat yesterday. This team has lost 9 of 10 in Indy. I know. I see you rolling your eye.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about all that. We ain't thinking about that while we out there. We just going out there and playing ball. That's it. Like I said, everybody does their job, and we just go out there and have fun with it. We got a job to do. We're not thinking about history. We're not thinking about winning the division and all this other stuff. We just one play at a time, one game at a time.
Obviously, the record on the road wasn't great last year. Is there something you guys may change in terms of your preparation, or was it just a matter of breaking the rock?
Breaking the rock. We just got to go out there and work. Today and yesterday was 2 solid days to prep. We're going to continue to work this week, tomorrow, and get on the plane Saturday and just go out there and do our thing. There's nothing to it. Just got to go out and do our job.
20 seconds.
Big picture. What is it like? And I know you guys don't care. You're not listening to it. But all these national pundits suddenly want to hop on the Jags bandwagon.
Keep that same energy.
Mic drop. Roy Robertson Harris.
Appreciate it. Inspiring Greatness Foundation. Make sure y'all tap in with us. Inspiring Greatness Foundation.org.
My man always be marketing.
There you go.
He's always be marketing, and he's a guy that, again, Tommy, to reiterate it once more, he's someone that came on in that second half of the season last year, and they are expecting him to pick up where he left off, and that is an indication of who he can be, not necessarily who he was earlier in the season. Although, for what it's worth, I mean, if there's one guy on the defense who cumulatively had a pretty solid 2022, it may be him.
Listen, he's a very good player, and they rewarded him with a new contract based on the way he finished the year. So he's got to start off the year like he finished. Look, when they grabbed him from Chicago, I was expecting a really, tough defensive lineman, and he is. And I think once the whole it's never just one guy, right? We talked about Josh Allen earlier. It's not just Josh Allen. It's the whole defense has got to show up consistently. They show last year. They showed flashes. They finished strong, no doubt about that. They were getting more consistent, but there were times during the year where they were very inconsistent. Their third down was terrible a few games at 70%. Even the opener against Washington. Washington 7 out of 10 on third down for their offense. That is just terrible football on the defensive standpoint. So it starts with him. I think one of the keys is Foley. I think that's why he's here He's a disruptor. He gets in the backfield. Roy Robinson Harris, he was a disruptive force throughout all of training camp. And again, you got to taper that because you're going against your own guys, and eventually you figure them out, type of thing. But if he's on, if the defensive front is on, if Ledbetter plays like he did in the preseason, Gotsis, you can they'll be fine with Hamilton being out. But Roy Robinson, Harris, and Foley, they definitely got to step up big today.
All righty, Tommy, before we make our final score predictions and our final thoughts on this one, I do want to note that Jim Irsay, my favorite account on the internet, has tweeted out that the roof will be closed for today's Jaguars-Colts game. I'm not sure if that plays a factor in how some of you may feel, but without further ado, let's hit it, our final score predictions. Producer Casey Dobson, would you like to kick us off?
Sure, why not? And I'm going to use a little visual as well for the people at home. I hope they can see that. Jags 27, Colts, you ain't getting but 6. Have a seat.
All right, have a seat. Have a seat. Well, we heard
Oh, it's interesting, Tommy.
We heard Hayes Carline doesn't think that the Colts are going to find the end zone. Tommy, you feel a little bit differently.
I'm not sold on our defense, and I think they'll be fine. I think they'll do some bend, don't break, but I think they will bend a little bit. I'm more like, I do think they'll score 30. I think they'll control the line of scrimmage on offense. I think Trevor will get into a good rhythm. I think ETN will have a big day. Bigsby will have his moments. I don't think we're going to see. I know everyone's waiting for the Ridley bomb. Maybe take a shot, but I don't even know if I'm counting on that this time around. But I do think our offense rolls. But I'm not sold on the defense yet. Prove it to me, and I'll believe. So I got it 33 Jags, Colts 21.
I've been with you on the, don't expect Calvin Ridley to immediately have 6 touchdowns or something crazy, in a game like I think a lot of people are. Because I think, not that it's going to take him a little bit to get his sea legs under him, because he already clearly has, and he said that to us when he met with reporters on Thursday. Sure. But the reality is, Tommy, they're going to double team him. That's why I'm sticking by my prediction. I think Christian Kirk will still lead this team in receptions, and I think Zay Jones could lead them in touchdowns. That's not to say Calvin Ridley is not going to be a game changer for this offense, because he is. Yeah. But I think it's going to open up opportunities for those guys because he is the primary threat to an opposing defense.
Yeah. Well, one thing you can do against zone or crossing patterns, because you got to pass him off into the other zone, right? And then you got to take the guy coming back, and there's your hole. So I think you're going to see a lot of Evan Ingram today. I think ETN's going to have a big day. I do. I think they're really. We're all excited for him, and an underrated, huge season last year. I mean, he really did have a phenomenal year. Need more touchdowns out of him, but I think we'll see that. And I think ETN, I think the backfield's going to have a big day today.
We appreciate our friends on the YouTube chat line. You guys have been awesome today. Let's keep that same energy every Famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff show this season. A lot of them, though, a lot of our friends there, 30-plus points for the Jaguars. Yeah. Is that a reality for you? Can that be a reality week 1, 30-plus points?
Yeah, I think it can. I don't think the Colts defense is anything special. I think their secondary is probably their weakest link. But again, if you allow Grover and you allow DeForest Buckner, if he plays, which I'm sure he's going to play, or you allow them to have success. Look, we're all creatures of habit. Once we start feeling that success and tasting that blood, we get more of it, right? So you can't allow the Colts to stay in the game. I wouldn't expect a sloppy game. I don't expect Doug Peterson's team to be sloppy, ever. And yeah, the target's on your back, but so what? Now it's time to go show why that target's on your back. We do that by kicking the crap out of the Colts. And it is a very important game, not just a divisional game. Look, I think some teams like Kansas City, they're not worried. What are they worried about? You know what they're saying? Hey, we were without Kelsey, we were without Chris Jones, and they beat us by 1 point. We really didn't play that great of a game. They're a good team. Hats off. But, look, anything can happen in this game. So, Jags, in my opinion, you got to get off to a fast start. 1-0, and then let's come back home and take on the Chiefs.
My bookie has the total at 46. I'm going Jaguars 27, Indy 21, so right around that number. Our thanks to Hayes Carline for joining us behind enemy lines. Our thanks to Frank Frangie also for joining us on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. And Tommy Mack,
good stuff.
Week 1 in the books.
Yeah,
Jags and the Colts right here on the Superstation coming up at 1 p.m. The Publix Tailgate Show is next. This has been the Famous Automotive and Quick Lube Kickoff Show, brought to you by Fast Twitch and Clearwater Irrigation. We will catch you later.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know why
Ryan Angel Raw here with Window World. Hurricanes happening for you. That's not news.
You did good. Don't worry. You too.